16 to 1. Do you know what these numbers bring meaning to? Well, it's been 16 months since the pandemic started and a year worth of lockdown. As the COVID cases in the country rise, so does the longer we wait for things to return back to normal. 1 year is a long time. A lot has happened and changed. During this pandemic, different challenges and obstacles are faced. Many people lost their job, business, family members, friends, and opportunities. It really tested our resiliency and spirit. Due to health concerns, everyone is practicing social distancing and health precautions. There are fewer face to face interactions, no concerts, gatherings, and even church activities. Staying at home is heavily encouraged, and our daily activities are adjusted to our homes. Online classes, work at home, and other online activities became the new normal. Because of the internet and social media, all of this is possible. We resort through the bubble of online to carry out our tasks and responsibilities. The internet has become of great importance to us and our society. It improves the way of life. It makes it easier to connect with different people. So the question is, what is the internet exactly? It is a global wide area network that connects computer systems across the world. Basically, it transfers information or data from one computer to another wirelessly. Through this, we are able to access information seamlessly. To understand further how the internet works, here is a brief history of how it is made.
About 50 years ago, computers back then were big, clunky machines that filled up the entire rooms. Scientists and researchers used them for research and did not do much computation. However, in 1962, scientist JCR Licklider proposed the idea of a network of computers talking to one another. This is why in 1969 they were able to send the first ever message from one computer to another over the ARPANET. ARPANET is a network built by the ARPA from the US Department of Defense. In the 1980s, as the number of users increased, it became hard to manage and navigate the information on the net. Paul McApetris came up with a system that automatically mapped IP addresses to domain names. Then, the DNS was created. DNS stands for Domain Name System. The hosts were arranged into a domain. Domains are .com, .edu, .gov, .org that we see every time we browse the internet. 1991 when Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web. It is an entire network of information that was accessible to anyone with an internet connection. It uses a hypertext editing system, which is a method used to navigate the World Wide Web. 1995, AOL and CompuServe started to provide dial-up internet access. This was the time the internet became available to the public. As the World Wide Web grew, different websites that offered services and information rose. One of the popular websites that rose is social media.
Social media is any digital tool that allows users to quickly create and share content with the public. With the help of social media, we can connect with different people and share information. We are very familiar with this because we use it on our daily lives. But first, how did it become the social media that we know today? If we analyze, the word social media is actually a huge and broad term. To specify, we can call it social media network. If we try to dissect the words, we can define them deeper. There is social network, which does not really have the media aspect. Websites like Gmail, Google Maps, and Shopee are included in this. It focuses on the interaction or relations of users online. While the media network, on the other hand, is where usage of media is important. There is an exchange of digital files. Examples are Netflix, Google Images, and Spotify. If you combine the social and media aspects, we get the gray area of social media network. This is now the websites and applications we are familiar with. A few of the popular social media networks are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. All of them are capable of connecting with other people and at the same time, use media or digital files. This is why on Facebook, we can enjoy chatting with friends and browse our timeline with photos and videos. To shorten and make it easier to remember, we just call it social media.
With social media, we are able to do a lot of different things. There are three common functions of social media. First, we can voice out our thoughts and concerns. Through this technology, the users are given a platform to share their insights and experiences. It is powerful because everyone influences each other. It may not be as huge as others, nonetheless, it still gives an impact. Second, it is used for entertainment and marketing. Since it can engage a lot of people, endorsement and advertising become more effective. Most products, shops, and services have their own page that the customers can easily reach out to. It does not only benefit the owners, but also beneficial to the consumers. Another purpose is entertainment. Social media for most of us has become our pastime and hobby. Scrolling through Facebook, tweeting, posting Instagram stories, surely one of these, if not all, has become a way for us to entertain ourselves, especially during this time of pandemic. It is fun and, of course, entertaining. There is a lot of content that we can consume. Interacting online becomes so much easier and many other things. This is why most of us do not notice how much time we use when using social media. Lastly, and considerably the most important feature of social media is the fast flow of information it brings. We can see recent news articles, trends, random information, and more. Staying up to date is vital because it can help us in our everyday lives. Gathering information is a necessity. Surviving this time and age, information is one of the things we can use to our advantage. These 3 points were only the few uses of social media.
Now that we are in a pandemic, how are we using social media? As the prohibition of face to face gatherings, being online, and social media became our daily practice. It became more than our pastime and entertainment. We conduct meetings, classes, work related activities. Basically, our tasks and responsibilities online. Right now, social media exhibits two important roles in this time of the pandemic. The first role is that it aids in the dissemination of information about the virus. As mentioned before, social media can reach a lot of people in a short period of time. This is why it has become an important tool in spreading information. With information about the virus, we can be aware of things we should do and not do. The different variants now present, the number of cases, and vaccines that are produced. Somehow, we have ideas and knowledge about this matter because of media and social media coverage. The second role is in politics. When it comes to a crisis, the first to take action and to lead is the government. They are responsible to make the people feel safe and respond to their concerns and demands. This is where the role of social media comes in. Social media reports the actions, plans, and responses of the government.
In journalism, there is a term called watchdog. Watchdog journalism is identified with reporting that denounces wrongdoings of the government and private sectors as well. This is with the hope of increasing accountability and spearheading positive changes. This is almost the same with social media. Because of the available information presented to us, we can think critically and exchange opinions. Through this, we can recognize the problem, then try to address it. This method encourages the people to be politically active and aware. So, what more can be achieved by social media? The advantage of social media in politics is, first of all, transparency. As the public watches the government, there will be questions and justification for their actions. Second, it brings awareness. For the past 4 years, the Philippines has topped social media users worldwide. This means that a variety of ages are present on social media, from young to elderly. If political content is all over the internet, then netizens are more likely to encounter this and know more about the matter. Third, it acts as a platform for people to exchange opinions and discussions. These healthy discussions help people to be more educated and knowledgeable. Lastly, social media promotes freedom of speech and press freedom. Many news portals and press companies have their own social media accounts where they can freely share news and information to the public. This is for them not to deprive the people of what they should know, especially about the society they're currently living in.
As we see the advantages of social media in politics, we should also recognize its disadvantages. First of all, not all information is true and valid. There are many fake news sites around the internet, and some of them might be content we already consumed. Trolls are also present on the internet. They twist and mislead some netizens. It is not always safe to rely on one source, and an unverified one at that. As we consume different contents, we should look for biases, reliable sources, and be critical. As previously mentioned, social media is very powerful and can influence anyone. We should be careful of the things we share and post online because it can damage someone or something. Second, it is fine to have different opinions and beliefs. However, there are people not open for discussion and different points of view. Worst, some people resort to cyberbullying and death threats to prove their point. Lastly, it is full of negativity and toxic content. Consuming negative content affects our mindset and emotions.
With that said, doesn't just mentioning these stated matters just give you a headache? Looking up in social media just to relax and entertain yourself. But upon seeing these trending issues and content, our thoughts, as well as our feelings, start to ponder and react. And sometimes it becomes overbearing and simply too much for our own good to handle. As we can also see, everyone is very much concerned and wants to be involved in the political state of our country. But inevitably, even though there are many advantages of social media as a political and social platform, there is still uncertainty and unending obstacles that can cause anxiety and stress to an individual. Knowing not all of us are immune to political change and economic uncertainty, these major political and economic fluctuations may lead to unexpected consequences in our health, much probably in our mental health.
Symptoms of stress can vary from person to person, but often conclude a combination of emotional and physical reactions. People experience stress in very different ways and deal with it each in a unique manner. Same as how we have different points of view in political and social matters. We also have different grounds on how to react to them. Some people, this matter comes at them mildly. They continue and go on to their everyday lives and seek hope pragmatically. But to those that dig deep and gets bagged constantly by the problems our society has, it can often bleed out to work, studies, and day-to-day activities. After effects such as an increase in doubt, unawareness, and depression, if taken for granted, it may affect other aspects of our living, like our health. Because we have to realize what exhausts our mind, clouds our judgment, and hinders us to think can also gravely affect our physical health.
Like a domino, when our mind deteriorates and gets tired, so will our body. These two are just undeniably connected to one another. Bundling up all the factors that put our mental health at stake leads us to lose the awareness of our physical health. We forget that our bodies are also stimuli of stress and debility. Gradually, we loosen up and forget how to perform physically well. A 2017 review of 11 students noted that mental exhaustion impairs physical performance and can make simple tasks such as regular exercise feel considerably physically taxing and demanding. It's like the simplest physical undertaking we can do is already too much for us. This is a similar standpoint to most students. Lack of time and just not enough willpower is supplying them more reason not to engage in physical activities. Complementary to the argument with our current situation, where education is done through the mode of online classes, we lose much more time than we already lost to exercise or do any recreational sports. We lack the time to use sports and exercise to reduce stress. Therefore, we can become physically unhealthy. Then afterward, this may affect our everyday living. Once again, the domino continues and collapses. Somehow, the acceptable alibi here is if we cannot cope up with our stress, what else energy we can exert for our health?
We are all inevitable to stress, anxiety, and nuances we get online. I am, as well as any other person, susceptible to it. Sadly, as we go further in our current situation right now, we don't know where to resort, unwind, or speak out with vehemence. In this political climate, of course, it is important to stay aware and vigilant. We have to know our rights and what we deserve in order to know what to fight for and how to fight for it. It is important to express dissent at times needed. All these political issues and social injustices are huge contributors to the deterioration of our mental health, especially to students like us who are forced to study in this setup that is not favorable for everyone. Students who try to study in the midst of a pandemic with the presence of multiple problems that rooted from it. We students are expected to deal with problems in health, family, finance, and social life all at the same time, together with the pressure of our academics for what they say is for our future, for the future that seems to blur out. All of this have a huge impact on our mental stability and emotional baggage. However, we should not ignore it. The last thing we need to do is ignore our own feelings and emotions. At this time of age, we should be focused on our well being. Always remember, there's always a solution for everything. Challenges are not all the time impossible. Many mazes of life have a light at the very end. It takes patience and a step back for us to move forward. We wouldn't move onwards if we wouldn't take a single step. Dealing with stress and valuing emotional and physical health are two important things. The real challenge begins when you start to wonder how to overcome it. As a student, to overcome it is to face it. And you should know, challenges cannot all the time be faced alone. Learn to open up, confide with your friends or anyone you truly trust. As an online user, however, when everything becomes overwhelming, take a minute or have a break. Focus on what is important and what will be beneficial for you and your health. Remember, assess yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses, because everyone has one, and use each one of them as your threshold. The future that we have and the promises that we can go through all of these obstacles are still unclear. It may be yet blurry and it must feel as though everything is falling apart. But soon, with enough emotional support, right mindset, and a generous amount of hope, this can give you a sharp focus in what is beyond on the hereafter.
16 to 1. To most people, this number symbolizes the hardships they've been through.
How about you? What does these numbers mean?
What does these trying times as well as the internet has brought you?
In the face of growing challenges,
Your mental health comes first.
Together,
we'll
we'll
conquer.